Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel, and with Reuben Amorim set to take charge on Monday, what does that mean for Ruud van Nistelrooy's future at Manchester United? Get involved in the chat as usual, Reds, because we will discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. How are you feeling today?
Listen, we've been trying something out new. His idea. I've been freezing all week. And I'm telling you, it was your idea.
On my toes.
Yeah, listen, he's just bullied me. Right, to take my gloves off and me hat. I'm absolutely freezing out here. It's his idea, right? God. And it's the worst idea he's come up with for a long time. But I'm telling you, he's bullied me all week.
I've not bullied you all week at all. But it's absolutely freezing out here. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't even feel my hands holding this stick, honest to God.
Yeah. I want my gloves back.
Yeah, the car is in the garage this week, so that is one of the reasons why we've been doing it from the garden this week. But yeah, I suppose we could have got the tram or a taxi or something to get to our own comforts at Hotel Football. But yeah, we'll try and get through it today, try and keep our cap on in terms of our brains, getting through today's video, get a bit of a discussion out on Ruud van Nistelrooy's future. But first of all, go back to last night there. Ahmad, I was really impressed with the performance. And like I said to you last night as well, that goal that he scored, it was the biggest cheer I've given a goal this season because of the way he put it into it in terms of the motivation, wanting to get the ball back, the fight, holding off a player and the composure to score that kind of goal as well.
I think when you look at him last night, it was the outstanding performance of the night from the team, and it was something to cheer, that goal. But it makes a statement for Ahmad. He's here. He wants it. He talks about wanting to stay at Manchester United for a long time. So it's a statement, and Amorim coming in on Monday, you've got to look at Amorim and sort of say to yourself, right, is he going to have Ahmad in the team? Well, his contract is up in the summer, so there might be a one-year option there. So he's got to look at that. But it's a statement, and it was due, that performance, to be honest with you. He's not been given a run of games, and I was made up for him last night. He's made a statement.
Just like to thank Fred in the chat from our members club, gifting 5 memberships. Whoever's got them 5 memberships, give Fred the legend thank you. Yeah. With Ahmad as well, you're talking about that one-year option on his current deal that runs out in the summertime. Would you just trigger that and see how he gets on this season instead of like giving him a new and improved contract with, let's say, an extended 3 years on top?
I think that's down to the suits to talk where they see him in the future. But Amorim has to make a statement, and I think he will do by the time January comes up, when that extension gets triggered. It's a difficult situation for Amorim to come in. He's got to assess lots of players. Ahmad's one of them, contract talks, and there's contract talks with lots of players. So Amorim, big job ahead of him, and I'm not clear on who's going to stay and who's going to go.
Well, that's the thing now. Amorim's coming in as a head coach, and a lot of emphasis and decision-making will be held with the likes of Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox on players' futures and players coming into the club as well, where we've been used to in the past largely down to the manager and, let's say, a CEO of getting deals done. So things have changed here at Manchester United. So it depends of what the suits actually think of certain players and whether they're good enough to play for United going forward as well.
Yeah, it's what's really the truth. I don't think at this moment we know what the truth is. Is it the managers what are going to pick the players? Is it the suits, Barada, Ashworth? Are they the ones in charge?
From what I've seen up to now in reports, I don't know if you've seen the same ones out there, that he's actually not got a veto on the actual transfers, and he will have a say, but it won't be like a casting vote. But I'm sure from Monday onwards, journalists out there will be asking him that question, because it's a question I, as a Manchester United fan, will want to know.
Yeah, listen, he's going to get absolutely bombarded with questions, and I'm sure the questions about is it up to him picking players for the future will come. So we'll have to wait and see on that.
But he's got some good young players currently in this squad. I've kept on saying it over the past few weeks. You look at Mainu, Garnacho, Højlund, Ahmad as well. All attacking players, and you can see them being the future here at Manchester United. They just need to be coached.
Yeah, well, that's what he's here for. He's coaching, and he's got a lot of options with young players, and a lot of young players what are coming through in the under-18s. So he's got a job on his hand, and I think with the ethos of what Ineos are saying, they want young players, and they brought a coach in, and he looks he looks the business, to be honest with you, as a coach, as a man, how to run a football team, how to be in charge as a manager and a coach. I don't think the manager side of it, I think a lot of it will be taken away from him, and I think it's the right thing, because this club's too big now. I said it the other day, this club's too big now. It's not what it was like under Alex Ferguson, where he was able to take full charge. So I think what it is, a lot of the work is going to be took off Amorim, and quite rightly so. Different type of manager we've got now, more emphasis on being a coach, and that's the way it should be.
A lot of people in the chat feeling sorry for you, thinking that you need a hat for Christmas to keep you warm, etc. I can actually see your hands slowly going back into the cuffs to keep your hands warm as well.
Well, to be honest with you, what you should be saying is like, he next to me here.
I don't know why I always get the blame.
Talking to. Well, you're my son, aren't you? Bullies me, absolutely bullies me.
As though anyone out there would think I would be able to bully you.
Look at me,
that's a strong word to say that. About a son bullying his own father.
Yeah, I am being bullied. Right, a week out here. I'm surprised I haven't caught me a cold. What's going to finish me off?
I'm just trying to keep your immune system up, in this cold weather. Get used to it. So we're fighting fit all the way through the winter time, so we don't have to drop down on any video production and stuff like that, and we can keep doing a consistent video day by day.
Look, let's get it right. No 66-year-old bloke should be out at this time of the day freezing. No one. So he's bullying me. But hey, I get on with it. I'm used to it.
Listen, get me on that Manchester United medical team. I'll sort them players out. They won't be having injuries every single week. But looking at the January transfer window with Amorim coming in, I don't expect any players to actually move out of Manchester United in that window. I think he will be given time to see if he can improve any of the players as well. And then them decisions made just before the summer comes in. So then they're ready to be shipped out, hopefully.
You just never know. Anyway. You just never know. There might be one or two what leave. Maybe I look at Lindelof. Maybe Lindelof. They were looking at him in the summer. He might have talks, but I don't expect too much going on. I think it's all about assessing what's going on, and then it's all change in the summer. I certainly do not expect any players to be brought in January. Any links to players and that, I think, is really just fanciful.
Gyökeres will probably be mentioned every single day in January about a possible move to United. But, if you go back to what you've heard Jim Ratcliffe say about buying star players or ready-made players with big price tags, I don't think we're going to see any of that in the next 12 months, 18 months at all. I think a lot of it's going to be emphasised on certain players, the age, the profile, and, looking at players who are like maybe that 40, 50 million pound mark. I don't think we're going to go much higher than that, because is the money there, especially if we don't finish in the Champions League places this season as well, because that'll obviously have a cut on the budget.
I just look at this. In the last 2 years, we've spent a hell a lot of money on players. And these players now need to start working and getting it right at Manchester United. And Amorim's got to do that. There's been money spent, and at the moment, they don't look like top-class players. And Amorim's got to sort it out. I don't think the big money's going to be spent. Maybe one or two big players in the summer, if possible. That's it. But the players and the money what's been spent has been ridiculous over the last 2 years, because what's it achieved? It's just got us nowhere.
Lee Jones says the players are not at the right standard. But also you've got to look at, like we mentioned earlier on, mentioned 4 names, young players, and if the likes of the more experienced players or the older players, let's say just for instance on the wide areas of Marcus Rashford and Antony, if they'd have been performing last season and this season, you wouldn't have seen as much as what we have done of, let's say, Garnacho and Ahmad. Now, for me, Garnacho, you're looking at him over the last few games, he's going through a dip in form. It's clear to see that. He's struggling to make the right decisions on the pitch, but he's a young lad. And in top teams, you would have expected him to come in for 1 game, 2 games, but then sit it out for 2 or 3. But we've not got that luxury here at United, and we're having to rely on the younger players, aren't we? Especially in the forward areas, who are still trying to learn the game.
Well, I'll start with Antony first. He's got to do it. If he doesn't do it, then as far as I'm concerned, I can just see him being put out on loan or sold in the summer. Now, you talk about Rashford. Listen, Rashford knows how to play football. He's just not putting it in, and that's a fact. That's how I see it, and maybe he will be looked at in the summer. There is no excuses for Marcus Rashford not to perform on that field. been an absolute joke fest, to be honest.
Derek says, go buy the man a hat. Cheers for your super chat, my mate.
Hat? I'm going straight in, right? I'm going to sit next to the fire. No hat is going to save me today.
Yeah, I need some gloves as well.
Get out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, with Ruud van Nistelrooy, I'm sure we'll all hear about it on Monday. What's your overall take on it, your feelings? Do you want him to stay here as a part of the coaching staff under Amorim, or do you think it's best that he leaves?
I've got to say this to every Manchester United fan. You've got to take sentiment out of this. You've got to think of the club, and you've got to think of what Amorim's doing. Amorim's bringing his own team in. I've got to agree with Paul Scholes. He was asked last night about should Ruud stay on, and he thinks that Ruud basically shouldn't be an assistant manager and is good enough to be a manager. So basically he's saying cryptic, really cryptic conversation he had last night, but he's saying, look, Ruud, move on. You're too good. You're too good to be an assistant manager. So off you go. And I think he understands, and I think a lot of people understand that Amorim's bringing in his own team, and you have to think of the club. People have to be moved out, and Amorim has to be given the chance for his team to work without any interference. I think the interference and the conversations will go on and on and on with Ruud in the background will not do this club any good, and it's a full clear out. It has to be a full clear out because it's been a disaster what's going on. The table doesn't lie. The performances don't lie.
Yeah, with Van Nistelrooy, I said a couple of weeks ago, thinking with my head and not my heart, I think it would be best he leaves when Amorim comes in, so it's a fresh start. And I just think it'd be a distraction in the background that if Amorim doesn't get off to a good start, or we do go through a bad period under Amorim, it'd be quite easy for the suits inside and a lot of the media attention out there to start them focusing on Van Nistelrooy to come in as the manager, putting more pressure on Amorim if things were to go like that. And, with what you said there about Scholes and what he said last night, we actually don't know whether he is a good coach or not. We actually don't know really whether he is a good enough manager. Obviously had that spell at PSV Eindhoven, but you're only really ever going to know if he takes over another club as manager who's at a decent level and at a good league around Europe. So for me, you can never say never. Let's hope Amorim comes in and has a successful spell here at Manchester United, and a long one as well. But if Van Nistelrooy goes out, he's a manager and is successful himself, who knows what might happen in the future? And I think a large majority of Manchester United fans would take to the idea for Ruud to come back in the future as Manchester United manager if he is successful somewhere else.
As I say again, you've got to take sentiment out. You've got to be ruthless. What's gone on lately has been diabolical, and Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, all of them have got to be ruthless. Hacker was brought in the summer along with Ruud by Erik ten Hag. Erik ten Hag's gone, so whoever Erik ten Hag brought in, that system, that idea is not going to work with the new regime coming in. So take the sentiment out, get rid of everybody. Ruud, yes, you're a great person for United, great striker and all that, but you're not an assistant, you're not a dog's body, as some people will call it, and you're not going to bow down to somebody else. You wasn't brought in for Amorim and his team. His team is going to turn this club round with its coaching methods and everything, totally, completely different than what Ruud van Nistelrooy was brought in under the regime with Erik ten Hag. That collapsed, that went pear-shaped.
Yeah, with Nistelrooy, with the games that he has been in charge with, some people out there have expected to see a bit of a change, a bit of a bounce. But for me and you, when we've discussed it in recent videos, it was more about getting behind Van Nistelrooy, the comments that he comes out with, his love for the club, him wanting the club to do well and wanting to be a part of that and give everything that he possibly can. I have took kindly to that, and you do want him to stay with that, that emotional attachment, because you can tell he actually genuinely means it. But with the performances that we've seen recently, I've not seen anything different. I don't know if any of yous out there have, in terms of tactics and the way the team's played, really. And, with the players that we've got currently in there, we always talk about this culture inside there with certain players. And it's kind of like when you've been back at school and you've got the supply teacher in, you don't really focus, do you? You all have like a bit of a mess about and do what you want to do in that sort of lesson, which you could like mirror being on the pitch. So for me, as soon as this manager comes in, Amorim, I think he will make a difference, and I think he will start getting some of these players motivated. I don't think we'll see a massive change straight away. I think it might take a few games, but I think a lot of people out there will be surprised in certain results that we do get from now until the end of the season when he comes in, because I do like a lot of what he has to say, that manager, and how he actually presents himself. You know, people might say, oh, it's only the Portuguese league that he's managing in and that. But for me, he does look like he's got like a bit of an aura about him, where if he does speak in a changing room or on the training ground, players will listen to what he has to say.
Well, everything we see with Amorim, everything we hear, okay, there will be change. And that change has got to come quickly. We've got to see a style of play. And then when you look at Ruud, for me, he's not in the game here. So quickly, pay him up. He's got till the end of the summer and then one more year. He's talked about his contract. He's an assistant manager. He's got a contract. Well, that just tells me the way he spoke. He knows he's going, and it's contract pay up time. Just pay him up. That's how I see it, and get the changes in as quickly as possible, and let Amorim and his team have a smooth run to what they need to do. No discussions about Ruud van Nistelrooy in the background, this, that, and the other. The press will jump on anything. So let's just get rid of it and put it to bed.
We're talking about Van Nistelrooy. There's still one coach there. I don't know what his new title is. It was a technical director, was it? In a few months, a couple of years gone by. Darren Fletcher. Are we going to see him stay on again? Because how long's he been at the club now for, and been under different managers at Manchester United? Well,
this is the problem. What I go on about, sentiment's got to go. Darren Fletcher has been given one job, then he's been moved on to another job, then another job. It's like, hang on, what is your speciality? We've seen him on the touchline, going on with Ruud van Nistelrooy, especially last night. Yeah. So that's the first time we've sort of seen him animated. He had a bit of a tussle in the tunnel the other day. But for me, people like Darren Fletcher, yes, he might be good at certain things, right? But the speciality, I don't see what it is, what he brings. He's part of the old guard, what's come through the club. And a lot of them have gone. There's still some there. Darren Fletcher, no, not for me. I don't think he'll be working with Amorim. I'll be shocked, to be honest with you, if at some stage, maybe he might go in the summer. I don't know. But he has to go. The old guard has to go. Take the sentiment out. We're being too sentimental. We've now got to be hard. I'm sick of it, to be honest with you, what's been going on at this club for 10, 12 years, where people have just like moved around in the club. Oh, let's find him a job. Oh, he's a good guy. Let's keep him in there and all that. People inside that club, and I keep saying it, have been looking after each other, making sure that they get the pay and everything else like that, and they're not worried about the big thing. And the big thing is Manchester United and what goes on that pitch. Time to get rid. And unfortunately, Ruud, your stay is short, and some of these people have been here too long. Get rid.
I'm sure there'll be a bit of a bitter taste in people's mouths who have lost their jobs. So in the last few months, people working in like the commercial departments, on the laptops, that sort of stuff. And, they're seeing certain people maybe in like the actual sporting department, like your Darren Fletcher, who've continued to keep the jobs year after year, especially when we're changing managers and coaching staff, etc.
There's bitterness when people lose the jobs, and that's quite right. But there's also people who take liberties, and people have took liberties here at Manchester United. You talk about people in the staff losing the jobs in the IT department and things like that, working from home. Some people were working from home from their holiday homes in Tenerife, in Lanzarote. Now, that's taking liberties, and these people were found out. That's a fact. So that's come out. Their story's out there. So at the end of the day, people had to go. There's a reshuffle. Always is a reshuffle. But the reshuffle hasn't gone deep enough.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, the reshuffle plan obviously didn't go to plan, did it, with sacking Erik ten Hag? And you would expect if Van Nistelrooy's going, Hacker would go with him as well, surely. And then, like we've just discussed, Darren Fletcher for a new team, fresh ideas to come in then with Amorim.
Yeah, has to be fresh ideas, clear the deck, the lot. I can't see it any other way. And like I say, I go back to it. I'll be shocked if people aren't moved out. like Ruud, like Hacker, like Darren Fletcher. I've just got a feeling Darren Fletcher will hang on in there till the summertime.
The big thing is, for me, though, with Amorim coming in, don't get me wrong, I expect him to do well here at Manchester United. I just have a bit of a different feeling that I've had, with the likes of Erik ten Hag, Solskjaer, Mourinho coming in. But if this doesn't work out, and the extended Erik ten Hag's contract only in the summer, was it about 115, 120 days later, sacking him, and Amorim doesn't work out, surely the fingers have got to be pointed to the people inside the football club who are making these decisions. Surely.
I think that's
in such a short space of time as well.
I think that's a long way down the line. I don't think Amorim.
No, because obviously if Amorim's not successful here, let's just say, for instance, we do end up seeing a style of play on the football pitch, but things don't improve with the players in terms of quality, etc. These people inside the club here, your Jason Wilcox, your Dan Ashworth, they're the ones making the big decisions now on player recruitment, etc. But if it doesn't improve there, we can't all start pointing then surely the finger at the coach. It's got to be pointed then inside the club as to say, what are you doing?
Well, everything goes back to the club. That's where the fingers point. And until you clear everything out, all the deadwood behind the scenes in the squad and everything, Amorim here, he's got a clear run. He's got a clear run till September, till the summer. Okay, he's got to get these players playing football, and I'm sure Ineos and the rest of the people at United will want United to challenge for at least a cup minimum and try and get up that league and try and get European football. So Amorim's got a clear run here. Yes, he'll have ups and downs, and that you've got to expect that with this squad. He's not going to turn this squad round. He needs adjustments. He needs one or two players in. He needs to get rid of people. So Amorim, for me, right through the summer, the contract, what he's been given, 2.5 years, is the correct contract, because come next year, he has to start firing on all cylinders and get this team back to where we want it to be, where Manchester United should be, back up there amongst the elite, back into Europe and challenging. And he's got a clear run. And I think he knows that. I think every United fan out there knows that, because the difficulties he's got with these players who have got attitude, some of them, who don't want to try, who don't want to run, and he's going to find out quickly, these players, and he's going to remove them, and it will cause disruption right through till the summer.
Yeah, for me, we talk about players being on trial, players here who aren't good enough to take us forward, but for me, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, they're still on trial for me in what they're going to be doing from now until, for the future of Manchester United, to see if it does actually work out. Because in the summertime, all the United journalists who are close to the club were saying that Erik ten Hag had all the tools, with all fresh ideas coming from the suits in the background to give him the best for him to take this club forward on the pitch. And if it doesn't work out again, the questions will have to be asked, like I keep saying, of what's going wrong and what's actually being provided to the manager here, head coach this time.
I look at Barada, I look at Ashworth, and I look at Jason Wilcox. They've got 2 years. Okay, this is Manchester United. They've never been at a football club this size, this big. This is a massive global empire, and it's going to take them time to get work in order, to get all the contacts and speaking to people and getting things in order. They've got a massive job, and it can't be done in 12 months. It's going to take at least another 2 years for them to fully understand and get to grips of how far this club's fallen and get it back on its feet. So I don't think there's any short-term worry about these people in the background what have been employed going anywhere. They're here for the long term, and the long term is another 2 years at least to turn it round, because Barada turns round and he talks about 2028. So they, I think, have got a clear idea of what they've got to do and the timeline.
Amorim's contract, though, it just runs short of 2028 as well. So
that's fine. It's what's going on now. They're not giving out long contracts, expensive pay like they have done to players and everyone else. Times are changing here. 2 years, 2.5 years for Amorim. That's fine. And if he turns it round, it'll look good. And next thing you know, he's got another contract.
Yeah, we've heard Jim Ratcliffe, haven't we, in last couple of weeks, was it? And he did actually allude to basically that this squad it's not good enough, and big improvements do need to happen in this squad. So,
well, Sir Jim Ratcliffe at times just talks absolute broken biscuits. saying that. I think I mean, how mad is he? We all know what's wrong with us. He doesn't need to speak and tell us that and
but
come
what
out.
does that, if you're a Manchester United player and you're hearing Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying that, okay, what's your thinking? What's your thought process when you hear, like, just if you're in a normal workplace, and like, let's just say the manager or the owner of the company, and you hear him saying things like that?
It's doing me head in. He's talking too much. He's talking too much. He should let the people get on with it, and he wants to hear his own voice. He's interfering. He's talking too much.
So you just think it should be left to the likes of Barada and people like that to come out and speak? And
no, I look at it this way, and I did say this before he come in. This man's not arrogance, ego. His personality, his ego, and everything. Billionaire and all that. We've seen it time and time again. He wants to keep opening his mouth. It's time for him, and I did say it last month. He needs to shut up. Okay, and let the people get on with work. He doesn't have to tell us how bad this squad is. You know, it's not rocket science. We can all see it.
Yeah.
So he needs to change. So Jim Ratcliffe needs to change and step back and keep his mouth shut and get on with sorting out this club, this playing style. He's been brought in. He's got a job to do. Get it sorted on the pitch. That's what we need.
Yeah, just like to thank you all for getting involved today in the chat. It's been absolutely popping off. Fred, smash a like for the lads. It'd be much appreciated, mate, especially in this cold weather.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Cold today.
My ears are freezing. They're gone. No, honest to God, they're freezing.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know how I'm opening my mouth.
You actually not. I can see it at the side.
I know.
It's like, boo.
Yeah, no, I don't know how I'm opening it. The chief are ready to start chattering here.
Yeah, well, we're going to get going, get inside and get warm. But I'd just like to thank you all for joining us as usual. You know it's much appreciated. So if you can leave a like on the video, helps today's video and helps the channel as well. And we'll be back tomorrow with a match preview looking at Ruud van Nistelrooy's final game in the dugout. So if you can come and join us, it'd be much appreciated. See you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.